Well, Jess, we've got some very interesting news about Marcus Rashford, who you'll be aware at the weekend was left out of the Manchester derby. Lots of speculation about his future. It was clear that the message had come from the manager, Ruben Amorim, that he needed to buck his ideas up, basically on and off the pitch, in training and how he lives his life. Well, he spent the day with Henry Winter, esteemed journalist, friend of Backpages United, with us on Sky Sports News. And the key quote from a long article that Henry Winter has posted on X is, "I ask Rashford if he's staying or going." That's Henry Winter. And Rashford says, "For me personally, I think I'm ready for a new challenge and the next steps." Henry Winter says all his words were prefaced with respect for the club, which has been home for almost 20 years. Rashford says, "When I leave, it's going to be no hard feelings. You're not going to have any negative comments from me about Manchester United. That is me as a person. If I know that a situation is already bad, I'm not going to make it worse. I've seen how other players have left in the past, and I don't want to be that person. When I leave, I'll make a statement, and it will be from me." This all came about, Jess, because they spent the day together.
Yeah, so Henry Winter was with Marcus Rashford on a day going back to his old primary school out in South Manchester, and they were visiting pupils, talking about Christmas and handing out presents. It's been an event that's been long planned between the two of them. This hasn't come out of the blue as such. Perhaps what has come out of the blue, though, are these quotes of Marcus Rashford. This is the first time we've heard from him where he's acknowledged that there is going to be a time, perhaps in the near future, that he will leave Manchester United, his boyhood club. His form has not been its best in the last couple of seasons, and both the current manager, Ruben Amorim, and the previous manager, Erik ten Hag, have stated their dissatisfaction with his performances on and his personality off the pitch as well. So these quotes for the first time from Marcus Rashford, just confirming that it looks like in the near future he is ready to leave Manchester United and move on. We have asked Manchester United for comment. They haven't given us any comment at this stage. Rashford also said it's disheartening to be left out of a derby, but it's happened. We won the game, so let's move on. It's disappointing, but I'm also someone, as I've got older, I can deal with setbacks. What am I going to do about it? Sit there and cry about it, or do my best next time I'm available? He also says elsewhere in the article by Henry Winter that he's posted on X, "I do feel misunderstood, but I'm fine with it. I'm a very simple person. I love football. That's been my life from the beginning."
The way he runs here, he doesn't just run straight, he arced that run from this situation. By doing that, all of a sudden you cut off this whole half of the yard of the pitch, and almost you've only got, you can see here, Manchester City players pointing to go back. This is your only option, one of these. That cuts off half of the team, most of the team. So that angle of attack in terms of defending is fantastic. And all of a sudden, because he's done that and because he's worked hard, he's actually now in a great position just in case Manchester United go and win the ball. And what do? They don't necessarily win it, but they force a mistake. And then this is brilliant. He takes a touch here into the box. That's the danger zone. Blocks his man with his right foot. Says, "Come on, tackle me if you want." And he does, and he makes a mistake. That gets them back into the game. And then this is only moments later. Obviously his confidence is up. And I don't even spot the run, to be honest. I mean, in this situation, I'm thinking, wow, what have you spotted here? When the ball goes back and we pause it, here we go now. I mean, this is him here. And if I'm looking across at this, I'm thinking, wow, what's on for me? There's a man here, there's a man there. They'll probably track my run. But he probably knows that in behind him he's got a little bit of support, so he can afford to take that risk. But he sets off, and he sets off early, and he makes a great run. He thinks he's going to go offside, so watch this. He then bends back, he flattens off his run until the ball comes again. And what about this for a first touch? At full speed, ball in the air, and this isn't a bad touch either. That's not easy. On the volley, tight angle on your left foot. Absolutely brilliant. What a fantastic goal to finish it off. And we can all look at Manchester City and say the mistakes that they're making. He caused those mistakes. His selfless running, his energy. Bruno Fernandes was right.
Just before I ask Rob, how difficult is that first touch that he produced there for the goal?
Incredible.
At full pace.
At full pace. That's the point. Lots of people can have a good first touch. Lots of people can run fast. But to do both,
In the 96th
that
minute.
is the skill of the game. In the 96th minute, he's playing on the right-hand side all game, Steve. Both his danger moments, when he wins a penalty and when he scores his goal, it's in the left wing position. So that just shows you he's not tied down. He's got the energy to run over. That touch was incredible. And the ball dropping like that, it's so difficult.
Anyone would think you knew what it was like to score a late winner in a Manchester derby the way you were talking. But Ahmad is a breath of fresh air, Rob, really. Ironically, amongst all the big money signings in that squad at the moment, this is a guy they bought years ago for £30 million after 7 appearances for Atalanta. He's been out on loan at Rangers and Sunderland. And since Amorim came in, he just looks loved and valued, doesn't he?
Yeah, and there's a breath of fresh air about him in his attitude that you've both touched on there, that you're saying this is what Manchester United are around, and we're saying just off air that, it's come to something where we're saying running, attitude, heart is what Manchester United need. But that's where they are. And we remember when Bruno Fernandes came in, and he came in a step above everybody else because he was doing these things. And you're looking at these players and you hope for his sake that he doesn't get dragged in the same way that the other players have been dragged down over time, over difficult performances, over being criticised, that this breath of fresh air stays the same. I was just wondering, Mo, as a centre-forward, you look at someone like Rasmus Højlund in there, and you're thinking the runs that he makes, does it cut down his workload and make him better as a centre-forward, Rasmus Højlund? Or do you think you're kind of thinking he's going to be taking some of the balls off him? How do you see it working with him?
Yeah, I mean, Højlund, I've been quite hesitant to judge him because I don't think Højlund should be judged over since he's been at Manchester United, really. The players that he's playing with, the manager, nothing was conducive to good centre-forward play. He wasn't getting too many balls. He's probably still going to show what type of centre-forward he is. I think he's a target man. He's a good size. He's got good strength. He can score goals. He can make good runs as well. I think he's unselfish. And I think if he gets these runners off him as well, he could be a very good player. But as I say, I've always not committed, let's say, to saying, right, I like this guy or I don't like this guy. Because, as I say, Manchester United over the last few months, or years for that matter, it's been a graveyard for a lot of strikers, a lot of attacking players. It's a nightmare. And some of the great players have been and gone and not showed their true form. So I think Højlund is probably one that I'm just going to give a little bit of time to and then assess him in the coming weeks.
OK, that is one side of the Manchester story. The other is Manchester City, who, of course, have now won just once in 11 games in all competitions. Now, in terms of the Premier League, look at this. In the last 7 played, since the 1st of November, we've done a league table. There you go, familiar names at the top, Chelsea and Liverpool. Bournemouth have got 13 points in that time. But look at this. The bottom club, Southampton 4, and the reigning champions, Manchester City 4. They're only off the bottom of this league table on goal difference. I mean, that is startling figures for the reigning champions in 4 years in a row.
Astonishing figures. And he came out himself today and said, it's not been good enough from me. And I think he's right. I think that they've played a certain way and they've played this control type of football and people have come up with an answer. And it's been rinse and repeat from teams. And they've just said, OK, we can limit your chances. Yes, you've lost Rodri, but we know we can hurt you in certain ways and we've got to capitalise on those positions. And they have done. The mistakes have come. I just don't know whether they can do anything different, whether they've got the personnel to do anything different. That's his problem. And another criticism has been, they've got these youngsters, they've never really blooded them. So when it comes down to it, when they really need fresh blood, your Ahmad's coming into the side with these guys that will go whoosh and lift the team, lift the stadium. They've not got it. They're using the same guys over and over again. You're down to 12 players, 13 players. They're not creating anything different.
And they got rid of one of them. Imagine what they'd do with Cole Palmer nowadays, which is incredible. But I don't think in my time in football I've ever seen a fall from grace like this. And it's not just been 1 or 2 games now, is it? I mean, we look at 7 games here. This is what we're looking at, 7 games. But it's been in the Champions League as well. They've also been knocked out of the Carabao Cup in this time. It's not just exclusive to the Premier League. So I've never seen anything like it. Pep Guardiola, yes, he's a genius, but even he is struggling for answers at the moment. And we can all have our reasons why: injuries, lack of form, confidence, you name it. Everybody's saying it. But at the moment, they don't even look like winning. It's quite incredible.
And they all...
Ruben Amorim made a really, really big decision beforehand, didn't he? Rashford and Garnacho out of the matchday squad. How significant do you think that was and will be?
It's significant in that I think early on, we see this with most managers who come in, they want to send a message to the squad about the standards of the football club. I think in some ways it feels a bigger decision than it actually is, because it looks like a big message. He's left Marcus Rashford out. I mean, is Marcus Rashford in the best 11? Really? How good is he? You know, we're not talking about a world-renowned superstar here. You know, I actually think we talk about Marcus Rashford too much, if I'm being totally honest. You know, he's a good player. He's not a great player. He's been a really good player for Manchester United. It is time for him to leave the club. But whether there'll be any takers with the, you know, the wages the lad's on and things like that, who knows? But I just think a partner of the ways is inevitable at some stage. And I think for Manchester United and Rashford, the quicker that comes, the better.
Do you like...
Marcus Rashford has shocked the football world, revealing he's ready for a new challenge after spending 20 years at Manchester United. The 27-year-old has promised to leave the club on good terms and not add to the negativity surrounding recent high-profile exits. So, what's next for Rashford, and how has new manager Ruben Amorim's tough stance influenced this decision? Let's break it all down. Marcus Rashford has been at Manchester United for 20 years, rising through the academy to become one of the club's key players. But in an exclusive interview, Rashford revealed he's ready to move on and take on a new challenge. Rashford writes, "When I leave, it's going to be no hard feelings. You're not going to have any negative comments from me about Manchester United." It's clear Rashford wants to leave on good terms, unlike some former teammates who exited Old Trafford surrounded by drama and controversy. Rashford's decision comes amid a turbulent time for both him and Manchester United. The forward was left out of the squad for the Manchester derby, with new manager Ruben Amorim laying down the law on team selection. Ruben Amorim speaks earlier. "We evaluate everything: performances, engagement, the way you eat, the way you prepare. It's my selection. Simple." Amorim's comments show he's running a tight ship at United, assessing not just on-pitch performances, but also professionalism and attitude. Rashford was even made to train alone on Derby Day, a clear sign that his place in the team is far from guaranteed. Let's not forget Rashford's contributions to Manchester United. Sitting 12th on the club's all-time top scorer list, the England international has delivered countless unforgettable moments for the Red Devils. From his debut brace in 2016 to key goals in the Champions League, Rashford has been an icon of United's academy success. Despite his dip in form over the last 18 months, Rashford's legacy at Manchester United cannot be ignored. If he does leave, he'll do so as one of the club's most talented academy graduates. So, where could Rashford go next? Recent reports have linked him to some of Europe's biggest clubs, including PSG, Barcelona, and even Premier League rivals. With Manchester United reportedly open to cashing in, Rashford could command a hefty fee. But wherever he goes, it's clear he's looking for a fresh start and a return to his best form. Marcus Rashford's bombshell decision marks the end of an era at Manchester United. Will this be the right move for his career, or is there still a future for him at Old Trafford under Ruben Amorim? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell for all the latest updates on this story and more. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.